Okay, so it's finally time to put all of these parts. Ooh. I'm sorry. It's time to put them back together and play the guitar and see what happens and see what it sounds like and all of that. So, we first need to just put the neck like so. There it is. We're done. No, I'm kidding. But somewhere in here we have the screws and we have the... So we just start by putting in this neck plate. It's not very fun to do, but it has to be done. Actually, I really like putting in the neck plate. It's just 4 screws and it's not hard to do, but you get a chance to see what everything looks like. And to be honest, usually I use a drill for this. So this is not actually a very honest clip that you're watching of me hand screwing these in, because it's, you know, one of those things that you don't necessarily need to do by hand. Screws that are very thin and fragile and that you could easily destroy by over tightening, you can do by hand, and you probably should do by hand. But some screws, like these, they're pretty big, you know, you can see they're big. They don't necessarily need to be treated like they're babies. And as long as you go slowly when you get to the last, I don't know, 2 mils, you're gonna be fine. Oh, look at that relic neck. Looks beautiful. So how you doing? Do you feel good? Do you feel like people are listening to your ideas at work? No, they don't? Well, you know, maybe your ideas are bad. I can't even say it. God damn it. I'm gonna have to edit this out, because sitting here trying to make this fun is it's too hard. Okay, so I'm gonna attach the pickguard. So we have 2 wires coming off it. That needs to go in different places. And there's a tiny little hole there you might see. I don't know if you can actually see that. There might not be any point in telling you that it exists. But that's actually one of the screws for the back cover. So let's try to ignore it. Over here we have 1 hole for the ground to the claw. So let's just push this through there. And over here we have a hole for the jack. So let's just try at least to see if we can get this one in there. Come on, it's getting stuck. There we go. And now we can try to align this under there. And thankfully this one had a bit of an overhang, so that this weird cutaway in the pickguard is not visible. We just need to put in the screws. Ta-da! Oh, god damn it. All that work and I forgot 1 screw. Ugh. See, this is what I mean when I say I'm not a YouTuber. This one is going back in there, but it's just gonna be there because we need to do this. I'm gonna replace it soon, hopefully, when I get time for it. So it's back in there, pretty much perfect. I mean, not at all, but we're gonna go with that one. Ta-da! And of course, we can't forget the screws on the back. And just so you know, I'm putting in the screws before I'm tightening everything down. Because, yeah, obviously, that's how you do it. And I'm really trying to not say obviously about things that aren't obvious to everyone. Like, I feel like it would be okay for me to say that the sky is blue, obviously. Because that's how most people see it. But that this isn't obvious to everyone. So why do I say that? I don't know. You can argue in the comments below. Just not with me. That was a very bad joke. And now we can tighten these down snugly and securely to the neck. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is attach the string tree. And I said string tree. You most likely thought I was gonna say string trees, but we're actually just gonna attach this one. And if you want to know why, there is no reason why. No, I'm kidding. I like the look of 1 string tree, but sometimes you need to have 2 because of the shallow angle of the headstock. I don't feel like this one has particularly shallow angle, so we're just gonna do this one. And I think this headstock looks rather nice that way, so I'll keep it. Now we are gonna jump into attaching the bridge, which is gonna be more detailed. Because if you remember, which I hope you do, we've plugged the hole. And if you look at the back here, you only have a certain amount of space, right? So if we put this bridge in here, and this is going to be fiddly to show you, but basically If the bridge is too far down like that, it will be harder to intonate. But we don't want it too far that way either. So we have to find a nice in-between. And if we look at the back here, which will also be hard to show you, we have to sort of find as much in the middle as possible. Because if it's too much that way, you will only be able to pull it up. And if it's too far that way, we won't be able to pull it up. So we have to find the perfect middle in order to be able to get a little bit of wiggle stick action, as you might call it. I don't think anyone calls it that. But anyway, okay, I hope this will hold up. This is a weird camera angle and I have everything sort of put together on a bunch of weird things to... Hopefully the camera doesn't fall. Anyway, we have to take the bridge and through one of the holes, we'll feed this long string. Which I don't know if you can see me do, but there it is. And we'll try to get it through with some pliers. And then we'll just pull it like so. And then we'll take the other end and feed it through the other. So basically through the two E holes. I know someone is probably going to say that you should put on guitar strings, but this is going to be under tension from your pulling, which is a different tension than actual... guitar strings. So if you had guitar strings here and you were trying to actually get some tension, you wouldn't be able to hold this because it would be too great. If I hold these up and I pull them over the frets, I'm a little bit worried that they are going to hit these pickups. So let's just pull these down. They are very high up anyway, and they don't need to be. So I'm just gonna move them down, which is not working. So I think the pickups might be hitting the bottom, which is something I didn't think would actually be a problem because I didn't think that they were being that much bigger. So we're gonna have to do something about that at some point, but that point is not right now. And then we'll just pull these up over here by the nut, and we'll put the E through the E and the other E through the other E, basically like you would on any string thing. And we'll take these clamps and we'll just clamp them in place. And just a little bit of pressure. You don't need to overdo this. They're not supposed to be pulled super tight or anything. They're just supposed to be holding the string sort of in place so you have your hands free, so that you can move this around. There isn't very much space to do so, but we have to find where this is supposed to sit. And now this is going to be super difficult for me to show you, but if we move this over, that's basically where it was before, and it's too tight. So we need to move this back to somewhere around there. So I'm gonna just find real quickly a tiny piece of wood that I can wedge in there. Just to make it easier for myself, because that will pull this back a little bit. We already know that this is where the bridge used to sit, and this is where it used to sit, but that's not good enough. We need it further back. So I'm back, and what I did was I took a painter's stick and I cut it to size because I realized doubling it was the amount that I wanted. But just measure and find something that fits your need. And while I don't really know why I did this, but because there's no like reason to do that, but I glued them together. And while I was waiting for the glue to dry for a couple of minutes, actually a little bit more because I went overboard, I decided to route out in the cavity here a little bit more, just because I wasn't happy with the fact that the pickups weren't lower. I think that the pickups should be completely flat to the pickguard, and then when you go to set everything up for your taste, then you can raise the pickups. But I don't think you should have to lower them. The pickup height sense is something that you should set while playing the guitar and listening to it, so that you can match them up with each other, but also find the right space that you prefer. I prefer my pickups really close to the pickguard, and they're not there. And they're just too tall. I think it might have to do with the routing underneath being a little bit off, which will explain why this pickup is leaning towards the neck a little bit, and this one is leaning a little bit that way. This one isn't leaning that much, but it's also routed for a humbucker, which this one is also, which makes me think, but I don't know how that's possible, but it makes me think that this modification that we've seen on the scratch plate here is actually done by someone else than the manufacturer. But the issue I have with that is that there are no holes. There are no extra holes for that. There's nothing that would trick, because, I mean, there's no evidence of that, is what I'm trying to say. Just telling you what I did in between, because it's always annoying when, you know, there are steps that no one is showing or telling you about. And I sort of glanced over it, now I know, but I didn't want to go into too much detail. And why did I do that? That was silly of me. I need to hold this, obviously. It's not attached. That's what we're doing now. This is awkward, but I'm just putting this in here as a spacer, and that will give me the distance that I wanted. Actually, not really. For some reason, this is more now. God damn it. What happened? I was sure I measured out that 2 was enough, but now it doesn't seem like that. Seriously? Now it's 1. God damn it. Be right back. I need to break this glue bond. Okay, so now I'm back and it's just 1 stick in there, as you can see. And once the bridge in place, we're not gonna have it there. But now we know that the bridge needs to come back. And this is also, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought. But that is strange. So let's line it up, which is probably somewhere around there, I think. It's not perfect. Maybe the neck needs to go a little bit in one direction, actually. Yeah, I think the neck needs to go. So we're gonna attach it there, mark out the center of these holes. And I'm using an awl to do this, and hopefully my bit won't wander. I take out the bridge, and I'm gonna drill these holes. And now we'll take our screws and we'll measure them, and we'll drill out the hole to the size of a 3. Okay, so now I've drilled these out, and I went to 2.5. I know I just said 3, but that's the size of the screw. They need to be undersized, and so I misspoke. Hope you can all forgive me for that. So now let's just put in the 2 E-screws, and we'll just start them off a little bit like this, so that they are somewhat in, and then we'll switch over to the drill. Okay, so it's going to be hard to see, but I've left the last 2 mils, and I'm just going to tighten them by hand. And if you hold it flush and you just put it down to where the heads are just touching the trem, because it has an angle on this edge here, we're just going to put it down so where it's just touching, basically. Maybe even a little bit less than that, like a paper thin in between the trem and the screw head. The underside of the screw head, so this side, the underhead screw. So something like that. Now let's move on. Okay, so let's attach the output jack. The ground goes to the sleeve, and as you might see, I screwed the jack down real quickly, just because it's always annoying to have to do this, because my hands are always in the way. For myself, not just for the camera. But we have 2 connections here, and the one that goes to the ring in the middle, that's ground. So now we can just tug this in here, and hopefully we can find the perfect spot for this jack. And the jack is in place. Beep, bop, boop, Beowulf. Okay, so here is the guitar. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know what I'm doing. Here's the headstock, and here's the neck, and the back of the neck, and the body, and it's very comfortable and nice. I'm quickly gonna go and put strings on this now and just play it a little bit, stretch them out a little bit, you know, all of that good things. I feel like you should do that a little bit before you intonate the guitar. So I'll be back real soon, and then we'll intonate the guitar, and then we'll have a quick little demo, play it around a little bit, you know, have some fun. Hopefully it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have to come up with some cool kind of background thing so that the video becomes fun, because me just standing there with a guitar, nobody wants to see that. Meow. Oh, you're back. Wait, no, I'm back. I was the one who went away to do something. Anyway, I have strings on the guitar now, which I don't know. Can you even see the strings? They don't show up in the camera. Anyway, here it is, and I've played it, and everything is good. Everything is good, but the string height is a little bit high. It's not crazy high. It's a lot better than it was before, but that's just because, you know, we straightened the neck and everything. We need to adjust these heights here. And the way I like to do this, which is a very unscientific way, is I just play that string. So first I'll just take the guitar like this, and I'll just go. And be like, yeah, no, that needs to come down. And I'll just adjust it. So I'll just put put it in the little Allen wrench. I don't know, can you even see what I'm doing? And I'll just pull it down. And I'll take it down maybe a mil or maybe half a mil. And then I'll play it again. And if I feel like the string is too loose and too, you know, out of tune and just a little bit floppy, then I'll tune the guitar. So I'll just do that. I'll just put it back in and I'll just adjust it. Obviously the guitar is automatically going out of tune because you're lowering the saddle, but I don't necessarily need to be imperfect pitch when I'm just doing this little string setup. And then I'll try to do the same thing with the other E string. I'll just lower the saddles a little bit and try to find a nice spot for it. Something like that. Let's play. And the height of the nut is a little bit high, so it should come down just a fraction, and I might go in and fine-tune it. I don't know. I feel like maybe not, because I'm gonna switch it out. It's not that bad. It's just a little bit high, so I'm thinking it might be good for now. Okay, so I've got the strings down to where I want them, and now I just need to check the relief a little bit. The way I like to do this is usually I'll put a finger on the last fret down here and at the top here and see if I have a little bit of relief. And you want just a very little bit. I mean, obviously this is a preference thing. Some of you might like a lot, but I like a flat board, which means to some people it means no relief. But you have to have a little bit of relief. The guitar won't function correctly if you don't have at least a little bit. But you can have so little that it's almost impossible to see. And I have like 1/3 of a mil or something as a release. I'm not going to bust out something to measure that. It's not really important, but I'm holding the guitar like this and I'm just checking the relief, and it seems to be good. So let's stretch the strings. Just, you know, go Johnny Greenwood or whatever his name is, and just throw the guitar around holding on to the strings. No, don't do that. I mean, it's probably fine and the guitar can probably take it, but it's probably not good for it. Unless we're on stage, then anything goes. And now that I've done that, I'm going to retune them, and I'm going to check my relief, not release, again, and then we're going to check and see if we need to lower or heighten the strings. Anyway, we're moving on to intonation. Okay, so the string length and the thickness has a correlation between them. The thicker the string is, the further back the saddle needs to move. So we need to adjust these. And the way we're going to do this is we are going to tune the guitar up here. And then we are going to make sure the guitar is perfectly in tune with a tuner. Don't do this by ear, even if you think you're cool enough to do it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to play the 12th fret and check and see if it's also in tune. This is the E string, so it should be open an E, and then at the 12th it should be an E. And then we just move this saddle to counter the string. I hope this makes sense. You'll see me do it real soon, actually right now. And then we're just going to play some strings like that and see if they are also in tune. Now, the guitar can never truly be in tune, so you don't have to get it 100% perfect, because it's kind of impossible, but you can try to get it as close as possible. So, let's tune this. And it's a little bit flat. So let's move this, retune. Another thing that is very important is that you try to play it the same way. So you don't go, you know, because bending is obviously changing the pitch. But I mean, don't play like super soft and then, you know, super hard. And sometimes you have to, because they get kind of stuck. So you need to like try to wiggle these a little bit, which can be hard to do. You can take something and just sort of like wedge it in there and try to move them a little bit. Move them a little bit. I don't know what happened to my accent there. Just to sort of nudge them, you know, because they can get sort of stuck. We're super close, according to the tuner. You also have to set up the trem, which I just did without thinking about it, because I just know how to do it. Which maybe I will have to make a video about that. That's pretty close. So I'm gonna just gonna do a little bit. Okay, so now the string is pretty good. The strings are a little bit new, so it might mess things up for you a little bit. It was binding on the saddle a little bit, and that's why I had to stop recording and just check, because I felt like I was moving it too much. But anyway, if I play it now... Tuned. 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 I don't know if you could actually see the light. I hope you could. But anyway, I'm quickly going to do exactly the same thing that I just showed you, but to everyone. So you just have to sit and tune the string and go from playing the 12 over and over and just do that. It's super tedious, but it needs to be done. And then the strings are good to go. So the guitar is intonated now, and as you hopefully can see, I've moved the saddles quite a bit, and there is space and room for the saddles to be moved. Yes. And maybe I moved it back a little bit too far, but I think it's going to work great. One thing that I feel like I didn't really say, because I don't know, I feel like I maybe explained things a little bit clumsily. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But I want to just quickly mention two things. The reason why I set the height of the strings first is because I want it to be comfortable to play. But the intonation is also a question of the height of the strings, because you're distorting the string with pressing it down, basically. It goes into a bunch of physics and things like that, but basically the strength, length, the thickness of the strings, and how much you have to move it by pressing it down will change everything. In a perfect world, you know, pressing down the strings wouldn't move it at all, but it's basically the same thing as when you're bending. You're basically bending the strings by just pressing it down in a sort of way. If you think about it that way, I think you understand what it is I'm trying to say. The next thing I want to say is that you should probably check the intonation if you decide to have a different tuning. If you change the strings from one gauge to another, for example, you have 9s and you go up to 10s or 11s, then the intonation is going to be off, and you are going to have to intonate the guitar, because that's basically how this works. You tune the guitar up here, and you tune the thickness of the strings down here. Is how you could, for example, look at it if you want to. But if you change the tuning, not the thickness of the string, then I would say you shouldn't have to change the intonation. But the sloppier the string is, I hope you understand what I mean when I say that, because I don't really have the word for it, but the less tension, which is basically what's happened when you're tuning down the guitar. The less tension you have on the strings, the bigger the movement of the string is going to get, because it's starting to rattle. Now, obviously, stepping down a half step is not that big of a deal. But if you're changing your guitar from standard to C or something like that, I would say check the intonation and see what has happened, because it might actually be off because of just the way the string moves have changed so much. We have one thing left to do, and that is we have to cut these off. I like to cut them off on the side where it is poking out, and leave a tiny bit, like a couple of mil, 1 or 2, like so. I hope you can see what I'm doing, but I don't want them rattling around, but I also don't want to cut so close to the tuner that it's impossible to pick. I mean, if the string for some reason comes out, we will have trouble getting it back on. I move up to the tuner like this, and I cut it, and hopefully you can see tiny bit of string poking out. And you can press it down or up or tuck it away if you feel like you might stick your little fingers on them and get pricked. That was a weird sentence, but yeah. So I try to leave like a mil or 2. I hope you can see what it is I'm talking about. Everything is out of focus. But anyway, here's the guitar again. It hasn't changed that much since the last time I showed you the entire thing. But it looks really nice. It feels really nice. The neck profile and everything. And you can play it. I forgot what it was I was going to say. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm already considering what to do with this, what kind of mods to do. For example, this nut needs to become a bone nut. Bone is the best. We need to have some bone. I'm already thinking that we are going to switch out the toners. I was going to oil them and do a bunch of like, show you how to make them better, but I think we're just going to switch them out actually later down the line. And I feel like we should switch out the pickups. They are not bad and the mod isn't really that interesting, but I just feel like I want something cool. I want something else, and I'm thinking, and let me know what you think. Give me suggestions of pickups, by the way, if you have any favorites or anything. I'm going to stay single coil because I need it to look classic. I can't have humbuckers in my Strats. I can't. But I'm thinking, yes, always. No, but what I'm thinking is maybe humbucker-sized P90s. I don't know. That could maybe work. That could be cool. Because when you take off the cover, it's a single coil pickup, basically. It's just built a little bit different. If you go back and look at the video where I built Mike Bloomfield's guitar, and I modded it and put on the humbucker-sized P90s, I took off the covers and you can see what it looks like inside. And I'm thinking I could hide those in these sort of pickup covers, you know, these ones, and make it just look like it's single coils, but actually it's P90s. And since I already have the 500k pots, it will all work really nicely. And I'm also thinking maybe I'll just buy 3 of the same pickups and keep, you know, having like 3 neck pickups, and then switch out the switch for a 3-position switch instead of a 5. And just have it like a weird classic vintage guitar. I was hoping to make this into something that was more like that. So I'm thinking of doing that and maybe just tricking everybody. And then it will just be you and me who knows the truth. But I don't know if that is interesting or fun, or if it will even sound nice. But if you have a set of single coil pickups that you think are cool, and you want to tell me about your favorite pickups, do that in the comments below, because I haven't decided what to put in this, obviously. I mean, I've played it for 5 minutes, so yeah. Anyway, talk to me in the comments below. If you have any questions about anything in this video that was unclear or unsure, because I felt like there were parts that definitely could have been explained better, but I don't know what those parts are. Anyway, talk to me in the comments below if you want to. You can also just tell me how awesome this guitar looks. That would make me happy. I need validation. No, but yeah. If you're new here, don't forget to press the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video or the content that I make, don't forget to press the like button. You can press the like button. Haha, I saw you switching places there. You can press the like button just because you think black Strats are cool and you think this one looks cool. You know? It doesn't have to be because you like me. It can be because you like my guitar. Just don't steal it from me. We're gonna jump into a sound demo of this guitar. Just a little bit, you know, to show that it works. And so you guys can get to hear it. I know it's been a long ride getting to hear this guitar, and hopefully you want to hear it. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe this whole like video series is dumb. But it's too late because I've already filmed all of the steps. So yes, we're gonna do that now. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it that you're spending your time with me watching my silly little videos. And yeah, I hope you learned something and all of that, or got inspired. Some of you guys are better at building things than I am, and I can't teach you anything, but maybe I can at least inspire you. So I hope I did. Until next time, stay awesome and cool, and go and find a cheap, nasty guitar that nobody cares about and that nobody loves, and just fix it up and make it into a beautiful, awesome guitar. And maybe it will be your favorite guitar. This guitar was 2 at best when I got it, but now, like, it has a really, like, look at that string action. It's super, wait, look at it. It's almost nothing. And the neck is super thin and comfortable and fast. And this is an amazing guitar now. I mean, sure, it's not perfect. The nut needs to go. The tuners need to go. And the pickups, I mean, they're not bad, but they need to go. I need something cool. But this guitar, plays like butter, and yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun playing with it and having fun just noodling, hopefully making some music as well. So yeah, do that. I promise you, you won't regret it, as long as you give it the time it needs to be given in order to become perfect. It's gonna turn out great. So do it. Anyway, bye!
Thank you.